Hey there, I'm Chris. I'm the editor of Mahoning Matters. I've got with me our reporter, Kelcey Norris, and Guy Coviello, who is the president CEO of Youngstown-Warren Chamber of Commerce. Hey, Guy, how's it going today?
Very good, Chris. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Guy and I used to work together for the Warren Tribune Chronicle. So one of the fun things about working up here again is being able to work with Guy. So this is great. Um, so, Guy, it's interesting. I've worked down here in the Columbus area for a while, and last year was a big announcement. Intel is expanding to the Columbus area. I know in Central Ohio, a lot of people are excited about it. It means a lot of jobs. I know the governor has been excited, everything. But one of the things I remember reading from you and other people around the state was saying, look, this is great for Central Ohio, but there's coming a ripple effect. And just want to kind of get an update of where you think the ripple effect is coming. Hopefully, it's coming up our way here in Youngstown. What have you heard since then?
Yeah, so I think the ripple effect is already coming up our way, and not just from Intel, but from other things. But regarding Intel, one of the things that we've learned in this process is that because Intel's in Ohio, many other chip manufacturers feel they need to be in Ohio, and because Intel's in Columbus, many of those feel that they can't be in Columbus. So Ohio's building out an incredible workforce in that industry, which is what's going to attract the other chip manufacturers and suppliers. Intel's going to put a big strain on the Columbus market for labor. And so it's either going to be too difficult for those other chip manufacturers to compete with Intel for the workers in Columbus. So it puts the rest of us in play.
Okay, great. So when you talk about the others, like maybe competitors of Intel,
Competitors and
okay,
or maybe they make chips for other things, other products. And so, yeah, there's a robust industry there.
fantastic. Have you guys heard from other maybe these competitors who are looking possibly to Mahoning Valley? Where's the process been with that?
So yeah, Jobs Ohio and Team Neo and us have all been working with chip manufacturers, and for us in particular, those that want to be in Northeast Ohio. We're also looking at that supply chain.
Yeah.
The suppliers to Intel and all these other ones need to be nearby as well. And so, whether or not it's a chip manufacturer or a supplier, there's definitely residuals. We've also identified companies in the market that are already Intel or in that supply chain. So there's opportunities for them to grow.
When you look at the region, is there areas of the region that are prime locations? Like I know with Intel, there was a New Albany area, and there was a lot of land out there that they said, okay, we're going to choose this, we're going to develop it. What are you guys looking at particular spots in the valley area, or is there? If you haven't gotten that far, are you saying, hey, there's this area in this place that would be great to develop and somebody could buy it? How far along is the process with that?
So we have a long way to go in terms of getting sites ready, not just for Intel and chip manufacturers, but for all commercial, industrial, warehousing, distribution. Everybody has that issue though right now throughout Ohio. We think we're ahead of the game because we've put together a site readiness program last year. We've got a lot of participation in it from local communities and local businesses and philanthropic organizations. We've mapped out the best sites for the Mahoning Valley, and we're in the process of putting together step-by-step action plans for those top sites. The city of Youngstown in particular has been a great partner in this. We see lots of opportunities within the city limits, and we have partnered with them on a site readiness program specific for the city. When it comes to chip manufacturing, though, we're having the whole state has got a long way to go. It's caused us to rethink getting sites ready because historically, when it comes to getting sites ready, we've focused on being close to highways, being close to rail, and then these chip manufacturers come along and they can't be anywhere near either. The slightest geological vibration ruins the etching process and chip making. And so now we're having to inventory and think about sites in a way that we've never thought of it before. So it's kind of starting over. But
Okay.
lots of other opportunities that we're seeing in terms of growing the economy that's requiring us to get traditional sites ready. And that's why our site readiness program is going to really help us be ahead of the game. And we will be getting some shovel-ready sites for these projects as they come online.
Okay. How many sites are you looking at? I mean, can you say what some of the sites are? I know you're in the process. I know you can't reveal everything that's going on, but in terms of sites, is there any sites you can identify, or where are you at in that process?
So I think and I don't know specifically where they are, but I think we've identified a top 10. So we put some metrics around, the speed at which we can get them ready, the cost that it would take to get them ready. And then, using some different metrics like that, identified what would be the top 10 that we want to look at. And then it also aggregates site selector inquiries. So knowing where they want to be geographically and knowing what their amenities need to be. So we've compiled all that to identify the top 10 sites. We do know, and this is why we call our program an equity-based site readiness program. We do know that there was a lot of interest in providing economic development opportunities in some of our most difficult or most disadvantaged neighborhoods. So think about the east side of Youngstown and the west side of Warren. There's a lot of interest in getting sites ready there because there's access to labor in those areas. And for us, it is important because some of those zip codes suffer from the worst disparities.
Yeah.
Zip codes in our community where there's a 20-year difference in life expectancy. But those zip codes are cut off from our current job hubs. And so we have an opportunity to create the jobs in those zip codes or nearby so that there's access to work.
Let me just ask the question. I think I know the answer, but I'm assuming since these are still in talks and negotiations, you probably can't say, hey, here's a list of the top 10. That's probably still, is that available, or is that something that you guys are still kind of working behind the scenes on?
You know what? I don't even have that answer because I'm not sure that the sites would be confidential. The companies that we're working with would be confidential, but we could probably share some data on the sites, and there's actually some stuff mapped out that we've been sharing. What we can do offline, Chris, is I can confer with our economic development vice president and see what can and can't be shared and send over to you what can be, and you can incorporate that into your work there.
And definitely for our listeners, if whatever information is available, that will be in our story about this. I will include the link on our YouTube so you know where to look for that. So very good. And so I'm guessing, and I know it's more than just Intel and the competitors there, but so my thinking is you guys are doing your necessary homework. You're saying, hey, here's some sites that could be available. And then have people reached out to you, say, hey, we'd like to look at the sites? Or are you at the point right now where you're saying, we've got these sites available, so we're ready to present them to whoever may call and ask? Like, are people calling now, or are you just saying?
Yeah, people have been calling for a couple of years now.
Okay, good.
And I can send you a chart that shows how many project leads we have received every year since 2020. And when you look at that, we started to see a big spike in leads in 2020. And then over the next 2 years, we saw probably a 20% increase in leads each year. And then if you look at where we are through 2.5 months of this year, we're on pace to probably maybe see about a 50 or 60% increase in leads over last year. And then
so I'm assuming, and sorry to interrupt, but I'm assuming that's for Intel and other projects too, when you say the increase in leads?
Yeah, so a lot of the leads are in electric vehicle manufacturing.
Oh, yeah.
And then apart from that, there are a lot of leads in the battery industry, and that we consider it a completely separate industry than the vehicle manufacturing. And so I can also send you a breakdown, I think, of those leads. But yeah, we're seeing an incredible spike, especially for mega projects. Mega projects are defined in the Ohio Revised Code of $1 billion of investment or 1,000 jobs. And in the previous, typically, historically, we would get a lead for a mega project every 1 or 2 years. Over the last 3 years, we've received 10. And this year, we've already received, I think, 10. So I think in the first 3 months of this year, we've received as many leads for mega projects as the previous 3 years combined.
Wow, that's impressive. And it's good. So I think people in the Valley would be excited to say, wow, these guys are doing their homework. They've got sites presented to people. It's exciting to hear that people are actually calling on those sites. Where is the process on? Because I know with a mega project, like Intel, Intel probably considered a couple different spots. They eventually decided on Columbus. Where's the process like on that? Because I know these projects are years in development, years in making choices. Is there one that's kind of closer to the end in terms of their selection, or is that still kind of in the works where people are trying to figure out what's the best spot to come to?
So the trend in the industry has been that all projects have had a much tighter timeline than historically. And we call it the COVID calibrated economy, where there is a sense of urgency around fixing the global supply chain that was exposed during COVID. Mm-hmm. And so timelines for projects have gone from years to months. And it's put the pressure then on getting sites ready, because it takes years to get a site ready, not months. So that's why the emphasis on the site readiness program. We've had our own share of mega projects here. We've had Altium Cells, which is a mega project, about $2.3 billion and a little over 1,000 jobs to start, and they're up and running. FoxConn, we think will be a mega project. You're talking about hopefully over 1,000 jobs relatively soon. And then we're going to break ground on a mega project next month. The Trumbull Energy Center is a $1 billion project, and the groundbreaking is April 25th. You'll have 700 or so construction workers there for the next couple of years.
Oh, wow. Good.
So we've gotten our share of mega projects already. I think that there's definitely some more in the pipeline. And usually mega projects require mega sites. And so that's one of the areas of focus for us is getting large enough sites ready.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's really good news. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there, the grumbly people who say, what's Youngstown doing? Are they doing anything? And I think it's reassuring to people that you guys are doing stuff. There's stuff in the works. People are calling and the FoxConn and the Trumbull project. They're getting past the finish line. And it sounds like there's some others that could be on the way, which is really good.
Yeah, we're definitely on the radar. One of the things that, not even one of them, the most important thing that we can do right now isn't actually sites readiness. It's actually growing the population. When you look at the number of jobs that we're bringing on, it's outpacing the population by a lot. And so if we don't grow the population, we're going to have a hard time keeping up. So we've partnered closely with the Eastgate Regional Council of Governments, and we've launched a repopulation effort. And the idea is to what we call the 3 R's of repopulation: retain, which is an internal marketing strategy to keep people here; return, which is an external marketing strategy to get those who have gone away to come back; and then receive, which is partly a marketing campaign nationwide to receive people that can come here and take good jobs and have good quality life, but also to receive immigrants and to receive refugees from overseas. All of those are in focus to help us grow the population so that we can market ourselves as having people. The key isn't to market ourselves that we have good jobs, because everybody has good jobs. But if we can market ourselves that we have people and talent, then more companies will come.
Well, I think the other thing too is it's not just jobs. It sounds like these jobs are, have you put numbers to saying, hey, there's X number of jobs are coming that pay more than X amount?
Yeah, you know what?
It sounds like these are high-paying jobs, I'd imagine.
Yeah, they are. Statewide, we're seeing there's a lot of job openings that pay more than 50,000 a
Yeah.
year, and a lot of these jobs do much better than that even. Yeah, manufacturing jobs are much more technical than they used to be, and they pay a lot more than what we've been seeing in the past 20 or 30 years.
Very good. Hey, I wanted to see, Kelcey, anything you wanted to add?
Basically all the questions I had were getting answered. So, about like 1,000 jobs you were saying will be available. Do you have like an estimate for how many jobs with all the projects?
We've got thousands of jobs available now that need filled, but that's a nationwide problem.
Right.
But we're going to be adding. We're going to be adding, I think, many thousands by say 2026, and so that gives us a little bit of a runway to grow the population so that we have the people here to take the jobs.
So you're saying like thousands of jobs now, and even more jobs that will be available in 2026 in the Valley specifically, right?
Yes, yeah, we're thinking that 2026 through 2030, the rate of jobs coming online is going to considerably outpace our historic numbers.
Very good. What's the biggest thing that you're fighting? I mean, you were a news editor, now you're the head of a chamber. What's the biggest misperception you're hearing about the Valley? Because, and maybe from, workers like, me and Kelcey to companies, like when you approach them, is there a big misconception you guys feel like you keep fighting?
In terms of just attracting people here, I think there's probably a misconception about crime.
Yeah.
It's really not high here. Actually, it's been on the decline. But we have a very robust media. We have probably a better, more robust media market than pretty much any other community.
Yeah,
and so the publicity around things that happen here is much more in focus than it is in other places. And so that hurts the image, I think. Not that anybody in the media is doing a bad job, just a lot of it here. So it gets saturated. So I think there's a misconception about that. There perhaps is a misconception about being Rust Belt, which we aren't anymore. We're a tech belt. A lot of the stuff that we're having, even in manufacturing, it's advanced manufacturing, it's additive manufacturing, it's pretty high tech stuff. And when you look at electric vehicle manufacturing, it's high tech. So those are some of the misconceptions here. I think labor is a misconception here. Organized labor, we've had labor harmony here for a long, long time. So that might be a misconception as well.
Very good. Anything else you want to add, Guy? I just want to make sure there wasn't anything that we forgot to ask.
Yeah, there's a couple things though on the positive side that site selectors and others see as an enormous advantage. There's a stat that I like to use that 20% of the nation's freight measured by tonnage flows through the Mahoning Valley.
Yeah.
This is an incredible place to receive and ship commerce. And so regardless of what industry you're in, moving products out, receiving supplies in, this is a perfect place, whether that's rail, whether that's highway, whether that's water with our deep sea port in Columbiana County or our 2 deep sea ports in Ashtabula County. This is a great place for manufacturing, for warehousing, for distribution. And that's being seen by a lot of people.
Fantastic. Well, Guy, as always, thanks for your time. Love getting the good news out about what's happening here in the Valley. Obviously, sometimes we have to talk about some of the icky things, but it's good to have the positive stuff coming out. And thanks for your role in that. Hang out for a second afterwards, and thanks for your time, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Kelcey.